What's up, Warshippers? Allow me to introduce myself, for those of you that don't know me. My name is SeaRaptor, and I am one of the North American community contributors that's been invited to the summit in St. Petersburg this week. This is the first in a series of video logs that I'm making to document the trip in order to share the experience with the community at large. It promises to be a really fun trip, and I am excited. It's Sunday night. I don't get underway until tomorrow afternoon, but I wanted to get introductions out of the way before we start the trip. I absolutely love to travel, possibly a little too much, as you're likely to find along the way, so getting a good night's sleep is going to be tough tonight. But it is what it is. Anyway, guys, I will catch you again in the morning, and we'll get this show on the road. Literally. This is it, guys. Day one. It's going to be a busy one. When Wargaming first approached me about whether or not I could attend the summit, one of the first things I had to check on was whether or not I could get the time away from my job. Luckily, I was able to finagle my schedule in such a way that I don't have to take a ton of paid time off this week, but it does mean that I've got to go into the office for half a day or so. The working world stops for no man.
Well, with that out of the way, let's get going.
A journey of more than 10,000 kilometers begins here, in Portland, Texas, along the north shore of Corpus Christi Bay. Portland isn't home. For more than a year, my job has had me working on a project down here where I have a little apartment and spend time during the week. Home is Houston, Texas, about 300 kilometers up the coast. That will actually end up being the first stop on my journey. Check-in in Corpus goes smoothly, though it's at this point that I discover a series of weather and mechanical delays have mucked up United's regional operations in Houston on this particular Monday. With time to kill, we explore the airport in Corpus. It doesn't take all that long.
I always get a kick out of airports like Corpus Christi touting themselves as big international airports. I mean, there's only 6 gates at this place. From here, you're going 2 places in the state. You're going to Dallas, you're going to Houston. You do get to pick which airport, though.
Eventually, though, we board for Houston, about 2 hours behind schedule. The flight is the best kind, quick, routine, and safe. And before I know it, I am home. There's no time to dawdle, though. My carefully planned 3-hour layover before departing for Frankfurt has been cut to barely more than 30 minutes.
Now, my cunning plan was that I was going to have a few hours to kill here and, explore the place. Show you guys around. This is my home airport, after all. Left here on some pretty epic adventures. London, China, Germany, some other places. But the extreme delay in Corpus has pretty much killed that. So my goal at this point is, I'm gonna make a couple of quick stops, get over to my gate.
One of those stops is the duty-free shop for one of the most important things I can take on board this evening.
I've long since determined that the harbinger of a good flight is a happy flight crew. How do you make a happy flight crew? You bring them chocolate.
Boarding is underway by the time I get to the gate, so it's onward and upwards. I pass the chocolate off to one of the flight crew as I board and ask her to make sure to spread it around after they wrap up their dinner service for the night. We push right on schedule, and the 9-hour trip to Germany begins. I've crossed the Atlantic many times, but usually for work and usually sitting in a lie-flat seat in business class. To my surprise, I find that I do okay with the Economy Plus seat on this United flight, and the crew is fabulous.
Dinner is pleasantly good, and somewhere over southern Ontario, I settle in for some sleep.
Day 2 begins somewhere over the North Atlantic as we approach the Irish coast.
I managed to catch about 4 hours of semi-fitful sleep before we're awoken to a light breakfast. I invest a few bucks in the in-flight Wi-Fi for about an hour or so, just before we land and catch up with Discord, Facebook, and Twitter, followed by a lovely chat with the purser as she comes by to thank me for dropping off the chocolate. As midday approaches, we touch down in Frankfurt. After taxiing forever, the usual post-landing scrum commences, and it's time to make my connection onto Russia.
Guten Morgen, willkommen to Frankfurt. We made it on time, no problems. It's been an interesting night overnight getting here. So I had some struggles getting out of Chicago. Senpai blew his connection here, so he's on our flight now to St. Petersburg. And, well, we're all going to get there, but it's going to be an adventure, as you would expect. Frankfurt is the kind of place that I've learned not to connect. If I have to connect with the continent, I vastly prefer Munich, but this was the best chance I had of a business class upgrade, which didn't come through, damn it. Missed it by 2 spots. Very sad. But, oh well. We're here safe, moving on, and see you guys again in a minute.
Changing concourses in Frankfurt is not a trek to be undertaken lightly. Travelers are advised to ensure they have an adequate supply of food and water, as well as a map, compass, and German dictionary. Chances are, you're going to have to ask for directions at least once.
One of the things that I've learned to hate about Frankfurt as an airport from a connection standpoint is the place is a maze. It almost feels like it's built to keep you here. It's one of the things that I love about Munich. You don't have this problem. It's a much more traditional, like if you've transited an airport in the US and you've been through Munich, you feel like you know what you're doing. Frankfurt is like you change levels, you clear security, you clear passport control, you clear change levels again. It's like, where the hell am I? Welcome to Frankfurt.
All complaining aside, though, Frankfurt is a fantastic place for an aviation geek like me to do some plane spotting. There are planes here from all over the globe, many of whom sport liveries that even an experienced traveler like myself can barely recognize. It does take a while, but I do eventually make it to my new gate, where I run into some familiar faces.
What's up, guys? Willkommen to Frankfurt, ja!
One more flight, baby.
One more flight, we're almost there. Woohoo!
You know, it's not the hotel or the sites that I'm most excited for right now. I'm just excited for a shower.
Shower will be good. A shower will be amazing. I'm looking forward to this part of the trip.
With the kind of punctuality I've come to expect from Lufthansa, we board our Airbus A321 for St. Petersburg precisely on schedule. It'll take about 2.5 hours to cover the last 1,000 kilometers to our destination, which is enough to enjoy a light meal and grab a much-needed nap. It's a beautiful day for flying, though, and I can't help but enjoy the panorama of Eastern Europe rolling by out the window. With Frankfurt firmly in our rearview mirror, it starts to sink in that the long journey is nearly over. Since I was a child, I've wanted to visit Russia, and now I'm just a few hours away from finally doing so. The beautiful summer weather outside our comfortable aluminum tube makes for a great view, but sadly our landing approach doesn't give me much chance to film St. Petersburg from the air as we touch down. With all of the formal rituals of passport control, baggage claim, and customs safely behind us, we find our prearranged ride to the hotel. It's inside this van that I get my first taste of what passes for Russian road etiquette. It's only about a 20-minute ride to the hotel, which has a very unique and unusual exterior facade. The rooms are much larger than I'm used to finding in Europe, but are still decorated in this eerie, ultra-modernist style I've come to expect from Euro hotels. We meet up with some of the other early arrivals for dinner nearby, then scope out the Russian supermarket across the street from the hotel. This is an adventure of itself. It's full of familiar things, but seeing all the labels in Cyrillic is oddly disconcerting.
Well, guys, there it is, end of day 2. It has been quite the haul to get here. It's a little after 11 p.m. local time. My body thinks it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think I've been up for something coming up on like 36 hours or something like this, with a couple hours of sleep here and there. I got about 4 hours of sleep getting across the Atlantic, but that's about it. Anyways, I'm going to call it a night. It looks like these videos I'm not going to be able to get out as soon as I would like, just because it's sounding like our schedule here is going to be so packed. But rest assured, we're going to get them out the door eventually. I'm having too much fun doing this, so this is absolutely going to happen. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Day 3, first day of the actual summit, will be up very shortly. I'll see you then.